Jerry was the kind of guy you love to hate. He was always in a good mood and always had something positive to say. When someone would ask him how he was doing, he would reply, "If I were any better, I'd be twins." He was a unique manager because he had several waiters who had followed him from restaurant to restaurant. The reason the waiters followed Jerry was because of his attitude. He was a natural motivator, and if an employee had a bad day, Jerry was there to tell the employee how to look on the positive side of the situation. One day Jerry was asked, "You can't be a positive person all the time. How do you do it?" Jerry replied, "Each morning I wake up and say to myself, Jerry, you have two choices today. You can choose to be in a good mood, or you can choose to be in a bad mood. I choose to be in a good mood. Each time something bad happens, I can choose to be a victim, or I can choose to learn from it. I choose to learn from it. Every time someone comes in to me complaining, I can choose to accept their complaining, or I can point out the positive side of life. I choose the positive side of life." Jerry said, "Life is all about choices. When you cut away all the junk, every situation is a choice. You choose how you react to the situations. You choose how people will affect your mood. You choose to be in a good mood or a bad mood. The bottom line is your choice how you live your life." Everyone should start their day out with a positive thought. Positive thinkers are able to cope better with stress. Researchers found that when optimists encounter a disappointment, such as not getting a job or a promotion, they are more likely to focus on things that they can do to resolve the situation, rather than dwelling on the frustration or things that they cannot change. They will devise a plan of action and ask others for assistance and advice. Pessimists, on the other hand, simply assume that the situation is out of their control and there is nothing they can do to change it. Optimism can help improve your immunity. Researchers Scherholm and Stefton found that people who were optimistic about the specific and important part of their lives, such as how well they are doing in school, exhibit a strong immune response, and then a stronger immune response than those who are more negative, who more negatively view the situation. It is unclear why people who engage in positive thinking experience health benefits. One theory is that the positive outlook enables you to cope better with stressful situations, which reduces the harmful health effects stress on your body. So, it also says that positive and optimistic people tend to live healthier lifestyles. Pessimists may neglect themselves. Dr. Peterson at the University of Michigan has found, for example, that people whose explanatory style is pessimistic exercise less than do optimists. On a checklist of health habits, they were much more careless of their health than were the optimists, and the pessimists report twice as many colds and doctor visits during the year as the optimists did. Positive thinking doesn't mean that you keep your head in the sand and ignore life's less pleasant situations. Positive thinking just means that you approach unpleasantness in a more positive and productive way. You think the best is going to happen and not the worst. Self-talk is an endless stream of unspoken thought that run through your head. These automatic thoughts can be positive or negative. Some of your self-talk come from logic and reason, and other self-talk may arise from misconceptions that you've created because of a lack of information. We need to learn how to identify the negative thinking. For example, we sometimes filter our self-talk, which means you got all your homework done for the day, but you can't think of how much, you can only think, of how much more homework you have for tomorrow. You can personalize things, such as a date was canceled and you blame yourself thinking that he or she did not want to be with you, when that was not the case at all. Sometimes we catastrophize, put things into a catastrophe, such as your hair is not doing what you want it to do, so you think the entire day is ruined. Or we can polarize. There's no middle ground. Things are either great or they suck. Wouldn't it be nice to go to bed without worrying about the next day? Instead, thinking that maybe tomorrow will be an awesome day? Wouldn't it be nice if we could all feel healthy and have an energy that we need to walk up to campus? Wouldn't it be great to only have one doctor's visit a year? And that is because it's your yearly exam. For those who are single, wouldn't it be great to find someone who is a positive, just as positive, or even more so than you are? And for those who are married, wouldn't it be great to have a spouse who's happy just simply because you're happy? We need to focus on the positive thinking. Some things we can do are continuously check ourselves throughout the day to make sure that our thought process is the right way. We need to be open to humor and follow a healthy lifestyle. Surround yourself with positive people. Imagine this or not, the thoughts of other people do tend to linger on our own thoughts, and if they're negative, we tend to be negative as well. Practice positive self-talk. Unlike what the examples were earlier, which were all negative, instead turn those things into positive things. You can always put pictures of Christ around your house. Those are things that always help me with my positive thinking. You can put pictures of loved ones around, and you can also do sticky notes with positive quotes on them. They're great, especially to be in the mirror, around the mirror in the morning. Now back to our friend Jerry. He did something you're never supposed to do in a restaurant business. He left the back door open one morning and was held up at gunpoint by 3 robbers. He was shot, but he was luckily found relatively quickly and rushed to the local trauma center. After 18 hours of surgery and weeks of intensive care, Jerry was released from the hospital with fragments of bullets still in his body. 6 months after the accident, he was asked how he was feeling, and he replied, "If I were any better, I'd be twins. Want to see my scars?" When asked what had gone through his mind at the robbery when it took place, the first thing that through his mind was that he should have locked the back door. Then he says, I lay on the floor. I remember that I had 2 choices. I could choose to live, or I could choose to die. I chose to live. The paramedics were great. They kept telling me I was going to be fine, but when they wheeled me into the emergency room, I saw the expressions on the faces of the doctors and nurses and got really scared. In their eyes, I read, "He's a dead man." I knew I needed to take action. Well, there was a big burly nurse shouting questions at me, and she asked if I was allergic to anything. "Yes," I replied. The doctors and nurses stopped working immediately, waiting for my response. I took a deep breath and yelled, "Bullets!" Over their laughter, I told them, "I am choosing to live. Operate on me as if I am alive, not dead." There is something we can all learn from Jerry's story. We have a choice. We can choose to be in a good mood, or we can choose to be in a bad mood. Each time something bad happens, we can choose to be the victim, or we can choose to learn from it. And every time someone comes to us complaining, we can choose to accept their complaining, or we can point out the positive side of life. Now I'm going to issue you all a challenge. It's a simple task, but it can be hard to complete. For the next week, every time you wake up in the morning, make a choice. Choose to be in a good mood and start your day out with a positive thought. Thank you.